Okay, hello. Thank you for being here. I'm super excited. This is part 2 of my Zoom nail bar how-to. And we're gonna go over kind of the technical side of it, like all the things you do up until presenting the presentation that was in the part 1, which is where I ran through the actual nail bar. So I wrote down 7 steps that we're going to cover, and I'll try to keep it about 30 minutes. That way, if you guys have questions, you can ask questions, but we're not here for all month in it, not a month in a year. Okay, so number 1 step for Zoom parties is you have to ask people, and you have to be really clear about what a Zoom party is so you can tell them how easy it is. So before we were asking people, will you host a party? And before COVID times, it was like, okay, well, you got to clean your house, you need to make snacks, you got to get people over, you have to put on pants. It's like a whole thing, right? Unless you're my friends, we don't put on pants when we see each other. But you know, it's like there's all this stuff. So asking to host a party becomes this much bigger thing because there's all this extra time and money involved, right? If they're party throwers, right? That's all not necessary, but it usually ends up being the way. Like, I don't know one person who isn't going to go out of her way to like make it special for her girlfriends when they come over. Well, then we hit original COVID time and we're like, hey, let's do a virtual party. And the virtual parties go a couple of ways. And again, this is my opinion. Some people are very successful with virtual parties, but I'll tell you why I have not done great at Facebook parties. So you have either the Facebook event. So in the event is cool because it keeps all of your posts in order. And so you can post and someone can scroll back and see the party from the beginning to the end, which is cool about Facebook events. And then you know, it'll send people reminders about the date and time in the event, and that's all good stuff too. Here's the downside is Facebook's a jerk and does not want us selling our products on Facebook, and they're constantly changing things. So to constantly keep up with the changes, to adjust your like rhythm of things is kind of exhausting, and it's challenging. So like now, if you don't accept the invite to the event, you don't see any of the event posts, right? And after a while, it kicks you out. So you might have a bunch of party guests that got invited, and then your hostesses go crazy and invite 10,000 people, and Facebook thinks your event sucks because nobody's coming to it because 1 out of 10,000 is nothing. So, you know, that. And the other way previously that we've done things is Facebook groups. So I love the Facebook group as a party if you have a super motivated hostess, because if your hostess is super motivated, she's probably pretty easy to convert to a stylist, and already having that group that you set up and being able to change the name, make her an admin, and turn it into a VIP group is fantastic. So I'm still a huge fan of that if your hostess is on board, right? Because we've all had those hostesses who are like, I'm so excited to host a party. And then you start posting on Facebook and then crickets, like there are people that come, it's all these things. So for me, as a person who gets a lot of energy from seeing people face to face and talking to humans and seeing how other people react to me or when they ask me questions, that is really exciting for me. And so for me, being able to be in front of humans is a big plus, which is why I like this Zoom party format. So downside of the Zoom, you're not going to give as much information as you would in a normal Facebook party because you're not going to post as many times. You're just going to do a one quick presentation, but it's more similar to what we would do in home, which is like play a couple games, walk people through the catalog, that sort of thing. So this is why this format really works for me. It took me preparation to make the presentation, which you guys can totally steal and edit for yourselves. I made it an online template so it's accessible. But after that, I can host a million parties. I could host 5 parties back to back and just be online for a couple of hours because they're just like 30 to 45 minutes. Okay, so make sure you know what you're asking your hostess, and you're asking her to have a Zoom party specifically. For me, this has been really successful because they're like, oh, well, that sounds easy. I can totally do that. And again, when you're talking about booking off of an existing party, the guests are like, oh, this seemed really easy. And so I would be willing to do that too and earn free sets of nails. Okay, so after you book your party, this is step 2. After you book your party, you're gonna love on your hostess. So it's always fantastic if you send your hostess goodies, right? It makes her more excited about you. And for Zoom party, you're gonna ask your hostess to collect addresses for you. So I experimented with this and I asked my hostess to collect addresses, and she sent them all to me in one email, which was way efficient for me. And then I had one where she sent me all her email addresses. I'm like information. So I'm like, I'm going to test both ways to see what's better. Cause obviously just sending emails or text messages is easier for the hostess. The one where the hostess got the addresses was more successful, and I sent out more samples because in giving the address to people psychologically, the customer or the potential, party guest has made an agreement and a commitment to that hostess that she's going to show up on that day and that time. And so we're sending her a sample. So there's a little it's in our brains. It's not something you actively think about, like, oh, I'm letting her send me a sample, so I'm going to show up to the party. But it's like, she asked if you wanted to come to the party. You said you would. She said, I need your address. And now you're getting a sample, right? So you guys made a little private agreement. And mentally that will bring more people to your party. In the flip side, where I asked for people's email addresses, I sent out an email, like a blind carbon copy email where the guests don't see who else is invited. They just see it from me. And I only got one person responded with an email with an address. And so I had to have the hostess go back and then text everybody to get addresses. So it was much more effective for her to do that from the get-go before I sent any sort of email. That said, I do make a graphic for my hostess to send and give her the words to send, which I will post on here when we post this video. I'll post in the comments. So I'm going to share my screen with you because I'm going to walk you through the different tools that I use for this party, because that's what this kind of how-to-y one is about. So my most favorite tool, go away this menu bar thing, is Canva. Canva is all the things in the world to me, and I paid the $12.95 for the paid version, and it's worth every single cent. So I use this for everything, but you can make a cute graphic. This is the one, oh, I have it open. This is the one I have for the hostesses. So I use this image in multiple ways. So one, I send it to the hostess so that she can send it with a text, because people are much more likely to look at a text or a message if there's a video or a picture with it. It's easy to ignore written text, but if there's an image, we kind of want to look at it. Like, I want to look at pictures when people send them to me, unless it says, is this you, attached to the video? And then I know that someone's Facebook account got hacked. So I do this. It's cute. This goes with my branding. I've got gold glittery stuff, and it says, you're invited for nails and cocktails. And I'll go through these different parts, but please reply with your address. And then save your sample until party night, and it just has the date and time, hostess's name, and I just reuse this one and just edit it and change it. I also, when I first started my business, I bought a $100 printer, and there's a store on Amazon called Inkjet Corner, and their printer ink is dirt cheap. And so I just print everything at home. So I buy 4x6 photo paper, and then I print this on 4x6 photo paper, and it looks like a professional invitation. And I send that to the guests with our sample card, which these are sold out usually, but you can get the empty ones on the Vistaprint portal now, and just put your own Tuesday and your own alcohol wipe on there. But it's got my contact information on the back. See how all my branding things match. And then I have these pink shiny envelopes that I got off Amazon. So it's fun. And in the little letter that I send for the hostess to send out to her people, I say, look for the pink shiny envelope, because it's way more fun to get a pink envelope in the mail than it is to get a white envelope in the mail. I don't know about you, but if something colored comes in the mail, I'm more likely to look at it, because I'm not worried about overdue bills anymore like I was at one point in my life. So pink envelopes are good envelopes. So I do this, and it's super easy to edit. I can create it, make this a template too, and you just click on stuff and nails and then you can edit. So just click and edit. So that's super easy to do. That was the first thing that popped into my, actually, if we're being honest, something really dirty popped into my head, and then I was defaulted to monkeys. So that's the invite. So I send that one to the hostess for her to send out to her people. There's an email that has an invite, so she can copy and paste that to her people, and then she can send this graphic for individual messaging to collect email addresses. Okay, and so then you need your presentation and URL. So I'm all about the simple, whatever I can do that's simple, that makes my life easy, I like better. So you can see down here, and I've actually changed this, but it says to go to the Zoom party, you're going to go to partywithatxnails.com. So ATX Nails is my business name. That's what I've been using this whole time. So if you go to partywithatxnails.com, it's going to take you right into a Zoom meeting room, which is way easier to remember than https://www.whatever. So I'm going to show you how you do this, but I'm going to show you how you do it for free. So most of us have, this is something I learned after I'd already purchased this. Most of us have a URL for our business. Like we'll buy, I know Julie's is Simply Fab Nails with Julie, my.com, mine's atxnails.com. I think Lynn, is yours ask me about my nails.com or something like that? Yeah, ask me about my nails.com. And so you can go into your GoDaddy if this is where you keep stuff. I like to buy URLs, so I've got a lot of them. And you can pick, so we'll go to my Amber Vulcan because I don't have anything attached to that. I just bought it because it was my name and it seemed like you should buy your name as your URL. And if you're in your account, you can go to Manage DNS. I don't know what that stands for, but I just know how to do this part. And then you can go down to this part for domain, and right below it, it says subdomain. And so you can add on here. So you can see this one, if you go to Amber Vulcan, so if you Google it, it goes to my Color Street website. But for a subdomain, if I was gonna do a party one, I might just do party. So you just do party, and then you pick where you want it to forward to. We'll just forward it to this same spot. So any URL that you want. And then, make sure you delete that part. Permanent, forward only, and save. So now your party link is party.ambervulcan.com. So, and you can do that like an unlimited amount of times. So you could do, for my job form, which I'll talk about it in a minute, I do shop.atxnails.com. For my party link for hostesses, it's party.atxnails.com. I have one that's, I think, retired.atxnails.com, where you can see what I have that's not on the website for you to shop from. And so there's an unlimited amount of those that you can do for free once you buy your initial URL. So I think
Amber, can I ask a quick question?
Yeah, please do.
Does that doesn't affect the original link, right? So if you already have the main domain going somewhere, the subdomain can take you to a different place without messing up the first forwarding, correct?
Exactly. Yeah.
Never knew that. That's amazing.
Right. And all the subdomains can take you to different places. Like each subdomain can take you somewhere different. Yeah, but I mean, it's just like, I recently got vanity plates that say ATX NLS like nails. So I bought that domain so that people could go there, but you could use that same thing. So yeah, so do something that simple. Like if you already have your URL, and if you don't have one, I recommend buying one. Cause again, it's super easy to go to askmeaboutmymanny.com instead of saying, go to www.colorstreet.com/LynnGetz. You know what I mean? Then people have to learn how to spell your name and all the things. So whatever you can do to keep it super simple, you want to do that for your people. And then that's an easy thing to put on your invite. So people have the link that your hostess will send them, but then they also could just look at their invite and it's on there and they know where to go. And I set that link to, I'll show you how to set it up in Zoom for what I do with that. Okay, so next is our Zoom. And I don't know if you are or are not familiar with Zoom, this might be redundant, but if not, hopefully you'll learn something new. So when you're in your Zoom account, and again, I use the paid version of this because I don't like to be limited to 40 minutes. It makes me feel anxious and stressed, even if I don't talk over 40 minutes. So I just pay the like $14.95 and I have the professional one. It's a business expense. I use it for my team. So it works out. But so you can create meeting templates. So for me, this Zoom nail bar is a meeting template. So when I want to create, and I'll show you how to create a template, but when I want to do my Zoom nail bar or schedule a new one, all I need to go do is use this template, rename it, change the date and time, and all of my existing things are in there, which is like the polls and stuff that I do. And the settings are all there. So create one. You're going to schedule a meeting. And just so you know, Lynn asked me for the like nuts and bolts of the how-to. So that's why I'm making sure to cover all of the intricacies. So title your meeting, whatever, my meeting, and then add a description. So super fun, nail party, woo. And then you could select a template, but we're going to do it from scratch. So you pick your date and your time, length of time. I don't require registration for hosted parties like this because then they have to click a link twice. They have to go and say they're coming, and then they have to go back and get the email and then come. I do like registration for like team meetings and stuff because if no one's going to come, then I know I don't need to be there. But if people are registered, then I know I need to show up. Also good for like strong start calls and coaching calls. Registration's good. And then you can choose to generate automatically. I do recommend that you do the meeting ID, not your personal meeting ID, just for security reasons. Because if you use your personal meeting ID, then anybody could always come into that meeting and pop in at any time. You do have the ability to turn on the waiting room feature, which is what I have turned on here. And hopefully no one's in the waiting room right now that I'm ignoring. But then you have to be paying attention throughout the whole meeting and letting people in. I'm gonna pop out participants. No, we're good. Okay, so so you can click on waiting room if you want to do that. And then passcode, that just is automatically generated. Video for everybody, yes. Audio, people can audio in from their phone or their computer, whatever. And then I don't usually allow my participants to join before I get on the meeting because then I get like emails that say someone has joined your Zoom meeting. And I'm like, I'm still trying to fill my drink before I start this party. So I'm not ready for a party yet, but now I feel guilty for not being there. So up to you. And then you just do save. So then you get to the screen where it's like your meeting, and this is the invitation, this invite link, this direct one is what you're gonna copy and paste and attach to your subdomain. So where we put in where you're gonna forward to, that's where you're gonna send this. Now, you do need to create this like 24 to 48 hours before the actual party. You need to submit this and forward it because sometimes GoDaddy has a lag and it won't forward right away, and then your people will be going to the old party that you had. So 2 or 3 days before that party, you want to make sure this forwards, that your subdomain forwards to this. Okay, so some of the fun things that I do in my meetings is a fun poll. So if you haven't watched that other video, you can do it. I don't know if you can see the poll on there, but I'll show you my questions in the template. But if you go down to this bottom, you can create a poll and just click add. And so you can pop these polls up throughout your meeting anytime. And then the reason I like to save this as a template is because then I don't have to create these polls more than once and remember what questions I wanted to ask. So in my party, I have like a who's tried Color Street and people can vote on that. I have a nail polish trivia. So we do, then there's trivia for nail polish. And then there's trivia about being a hostess and trivia about being a stylist. And they get to, I have them keep track of their own points. And then I do a prize. And my prize is usually like whoever got the most points, I'll add a bonus free set onto their order. I used to do, and this probably sounds a little bit stingy, but I used to just give the gift as like here's a free set. But then I found that sometimes that person wouldn't order. But anytime I do, I'm going to add a free set. And so sometimes I cheat and I'm like, okay, 3 people tied. All 3 of you get a free set onto your order because then they're just getting a bonus set on the order that they're already going to place, which I like. So you can title the poll. So I have ones that say, what is Color Street? And then you can do the questions and you can add a question to the same one. So for my nail polish trivia one, those 5 questions all are in this one nail polish trivia poll. But when you're done, you just click save. And then down here, after you've got your first meeting set up and maybe you just do like a generic one with whatever date and time, you can click save meeting as a template. And that's how it ends up in your template screen. And so then you can just pop that open and use it whenever you want. So for example, I can't launch another meeting, but I'll show you the poll. So if we're looking at meeting templates and I want to use this template, let's see if this is the one that has all the polls. Save. So then you can see I've got my polls down here. Oh, I'm going to use the other one. That one has more so that I can show you the questions. Zoom's going to be so confused. Why are you having 27 meetings all at the same time? Because I can. Okay, so here's my polls down here. So you can see this one has 5 questions. This one's got 1 question. This one's got a question, 5 and 3. So nail polish trivia is fun things that I just Googled on the internet. You guys, there are unlimited poll questions on the internet if you just Google nail polish trivia, and then you can make your own polls. But this one says, you know, what country did it come from? What inspired blah, blah, blah. Just something for fun. And then my Who's Tried Color Street, and these are not in order of the way they are in the party. So one of my first or second slides is Who's Tried Color Street, and then you can see love it, never heard of it but tried. And so one of the cool things you can do about this poll is if you click edit, you can choose whether or not you want it to be anonymous. So I never check anonymous because then I can go in and see who's never tried it. So they might need an extra follow-up after the party versus someone who's tried it. And sometimes, like maybe someone who said that they tried it and loved it, they might already have a stylist and they came to the party just to support their friend, but they might not order from you because they want to order from their regular person. But a follow-up call might be the thing that makes the difference. So that brings me to this nerdy thing. So this is my nail bar tracker, and I'll also put this in the comments. So I laminated it because I like to laminate things and use dry erase markers, but it has hostess name, a note section, when I sent their Tuesday, when they placed an order, if they booked a party, and if they became a stylist. And then in the notes section, I usually put the dollar amount of their transaction. But this is also a really great place to say, like, never tried it, you know, so maybe you're going to send them a separate application video or something. So you can utilize that poll to get information about your people that you would normally get in person and be able to talk to them about, but you're not going to be able to do in this scenario. So I have a favorite style question. One of my slides has like 6 pictures on them and they're numbered, and it's like, hey, which one of these is your favorite? So you can do fun stuff like that. You can do this or that and have them poll and choose, because nobody wants to sit through a presentation for 30 minutes, but if they can engage and stay aware and pay attention, you know, then you know they're not putting their kids to sleep while this is on in the background and they're actually engaged in your party. So having ways that you can serve them and engage with them through this like polling system is super great. So sponsoring facts is just like stats about how much money we sell. So total company sales for Color Street in August, how many sets we sold in 2020, commission paid out, those sorts of things. And these are just like questions that plant that seed about the business opportunity. So it's like a few things here and there that say, wow, I want to be part of a $119 million payout, like in commission. That's amazing. I want some of that. Are you able to choose? You choose when they pull up. So I didn't put a poll in this one, but if you watch my other video, you can see that they pop up random, like throughout the thing. So when my slide comes up that says, have you heard of Color Street? That's when I put up the poll that says, have you heard of Color Street? And it says like it, love it, or whatever. So when my slide comes up about hosting a party and I'm talking about the hostess opportunity, then I put up the poll that has questions about hosting the party. And so the last one is hostess facts, which how many sets does the hostess earn for hosting a nail bar on average? What does a hostess get when she books a party? And how much can this hostess earn when you book a party tonight? And so these are, again, just planting seeds for people to want to host a party. And I will tell you that so far I lost someone in the waiting room, sorry. I'm 100% successful at Zoom parties and booking another party off of the Zoom party. And I think it's part of the reason is because it's so easy for the hostess. Does anybody have any questions on Zoom and the Zoom setup piece? Okay. And then the last thing is Canva. So I have this template, and for Lynn's team, she posted the link, and for our team, it's posted on the comments of the video in our unit section. So in Canva, you can actually create this presentation So if you just copy and paste the URL of this presentation, then it'll show up for you like a template, and then you can edit. You can delete my name, put your own name in, change the pictures, which is great. So it's 5-minute manis. I do a section about Meet Me where I always share my why. It's super important for you guys to have a solid why you're doing your business and share that at the beginning of your party. One of the things that's amazing about this is if your why is solid and they can see that you're passionate about it and you're being honest and straightforward, they're going to be more likely to shop with you because they're going to like you and they're going to trust you because they know you're doing it for the right reasons, right? So then this is the second slide about my why. I talk about my son and what I do for giving back and fundraising and whatnot throughout the year. So then we do a Who's Tried Color Street, and you can switch these pictures out. I need to switch this one because I'm out of Mount Crushmore. But right here is where I would pop up the poll. And these are all images, you guys, these are all pictures that Color Street's provided for us. So to get to these pictures, if you log into your VO, on the front page, there's an important link section and you can click on Stylist Assets, and in there is a bunch of high resolution images. And let me show you how. So if I wanted to change, we'll just change this right now so you guys can see. So if I wanted to change this image, I'm just gonna delete it. This is a frame in Canva, so I can just drag and drop an image in there. So you would go to Uploads and then Upload Media, and you can actually choose Dropbox. So I always, whenever Color Street puts a new folder up, I save it to my personal Dropbox so that I can upload straight from there. So here's Stylist Assets, promotions. No, they move things around. We'll go to Holiday Throwbacks. Okay, so here's all the holiday throwback images. So I can just drag and drop this right in here, and then my presentation's updated. You can also do this if you want to do themes, like, so say you have a longtime customer that's going to be your hostess and she wants to do a catalog launch party for the new spring catalog next year. You could go through and put all spring images in here. So super easy to edit. Do a demo. Here's the one where I pop up the which one is your favorite, again, just to keep people engaged. Like, you need to engage with people every few minutes or they're gonna start to get lost. And then I walk people through the catalog. So I talk to them about glitters and solids. I also talk about who, and this I learned from my networking group, but who is it that's gonna wear the solids and glitters? So speak to your actual customers. So for me, one of my customers, and she's a stylist and she's on the call, one of my customers that loves our solids is a high-end interior designer, right? So I might say some of my clients that like solids are customers that are, you know, interior designers and need to have a professional looking hand. So the cool thing about that is you're not only helping them shop for themselves, but you're helping them shop for people on their list, or what we're going to ask later is for referrals. And so you're putting into their brain other people who might like Color Street. Here's the plug with that is they might not want to be a stylist, but they might have a friend who'd be an amazing stylist who fits one of these categories that you described. They might have someone who'd be amazing hostess who fits someone that you described. So by tying the style type to a human that might be someone they know, at the end, we're going to say, you know, and maybe you don't want to host a party, or maybe you don't want this business opportunity, but I would love to meet anybody who you think would be amazing. You know, this is who I am. This is the kind of leader I am. This is the kind of coach I am. And if you feel like you know someone who would vibe with me, I would love to meet them. And I would be ever so grateful. So talk to people about, and especially in this gift giving season, about the type of person who likes these different nails, and be, you know, use variety. So same designs. And again, this is reminiscent of what we would do in a home party, which is walk people through the catalog and have them start circling their favorites and stuff like that. Just each of the styles: glitter dip, clear, French mayonnaise, holidays. I have this little add-on thing for holidays, which may or may not be allowed, but it's less than the value of Color Street, so I'm going with it. And then the different ways to shop. So I have retired styles on a Square site. You can't shop from my Square site, which is against the rules, but you can see what I have because it's an easier way to get all the pictures. I will also show you another way to do that. And then all styles, buy 3, get 1 free. And then I also offer a baker's dozen, because sometimes people think that they can only do 1 buy 3, get 1 free. And so they'll limit themselves to 4 nails. But a baker's dozen is 12 sets, and then they get a 13th free, which is what they do at the donut shop. Like if you buy a dozen donuts, you always get a 13th bonus one sitting right on top. Here's the thing, is that when someone orders a baker's dozen, you bet your bottom dollar that person's getting a phone call about being a stylist, because guess how many sets come in our stylist kit? 13, right? And so it's one more seed planted and way to start that conversation. And then so people can order, they could go to atxnailsorders.com, which for me takes you to my Jotform. I love Jotform. And Jotform's super easy for you to build too, because you can use my Jotform link, which Lynn posted for you, to create your own. So to do that, you're gonna go to Jotform and create a free account. It doesn't cost anything. You just have to have your ads on here. Ads. And then you're gonna do create form, import form from a web page. And then you're going to use my form or someone else's. There are a lot of them floating around out there. Copy and paste, create form. It's thinking. So now this is your version of my form with your very own link. You can see at the top, it says clone of Color Street party order form. So you can go through and edit this, or you can make it look just exactly like mine. These are like my brand colors or whatever. So I just took screenshots of the catalog, like of the PDFs of the catalog to insert. So if you want to change this for the season, you're going to do properties, remove image, and then you can import a new image. And then I just add whatever is current. So we've got everything in here, and like we just got throwback shades. So I just took a screenshot of that. Not a very good one, but I did it on the quick, fast. And then you can edit each section. So you can put what your specials are, you can edit the names, and then people check. And this is fun because what it looks like on the other side is people get a form. Go to your inbox. And when people submit a form, you get it here. And then you can just see, here's all the styles that they want. We know their name, their contact information. She wanted some extra retired styles, so she put that in the notes. She's gonna pick up at my house. I ask her if she wants to be a stylist. I ask her if she wants to host a party, among some other questions. And so it's just another like seed planting for your growth, and having reasons to reach out and talk to people. For me, I love the stylist locator, and I love when people order on my website. But I should probably click off of this so people aren't seeing her contact information. But I love when people order on my website, but I don't always get responses when I reach out to people. I have customers who have been shopping with me for 3 years, and I've reached out to them one-on-one, phone calls and texts, and they just never respond, but they still order from me, right? But when someone's given me permission to contact them by giving me their contact information and saying, hey, I might want to host a party, or I might want to become a stylist, then that is a much easier way for me to start that conversation. So I think that's all. I think that covers it. So if I can figure out how to stop sharing my screen, then I will take questions. If anybody has any. Stop. Does anybody have any questions?
Yeah, I was just going to say that part too. I mean, it doesn't have to be a Jotform. It can be YumiWho. It can be your website. It can be, you know, wherever you want to lead people to place an order at the end, that's where you want to send them.
Yes, 100%. I, as most founding stylists, am sitting on a fat pile of inventory because it builds up way fast over time. So this year, because we haven't been doing vendor events, I've been like 90% selling out of my personal inventory. If you do that, make sure to keep really, really good records. And if you need a separate lesson on how to use Square to run your business, I can show you. But I have every transaction recorded in Square. But yeah, I've been selling through my personal inventory instead of sending people directly to my website. Once you hit team leader, you have the opportunity to be on the stylist locator, which is great. And I usually bonus qualify from that. And then I just place my additional personal orders and I sell. My customers are used to shopping from me. So that's why I like the Jot form. But yes, you direct people wherever you want. Not everybody keeps inventory, and Color Street doesn't recommend that you keep inventory. It just builds up over, I mean, it's been almost 4 years, it builds up. So you send people wherever you want them to shop. So and even this year for me, I've been filling Hostess rewards out of my personal inventory because I've just got so many nails, right? But if you want Color Street to pay for the Hostess rewards, as we most often do, then you're going to send them directly to your Color Street site. The other option when you use the Jot form, if you still want the ability to collect their information and answer those questions for you, is you can place the order for them. So you may only give your payment options as like a Venmo or a PayPal where they're sending you cash. And then if you want to be extra savvy, use like a mileage credit card when we can travel again, then you get those mileage points. So you're earning a little extra bonus. Or for me, I use a cashback credit card where my cashback percentage is as much as my Square transaction fees. So I balance those out and make it a wash. So I don't worry about taking credit cards. So there's a lot of like little ways that you can sort of incrementally increase your income and or cover your expenses. So lots of options.
I love options.
Oh,
You're a Jot form and Square girl. I'm a PayPal and YumiWho girl. It happens,
yeah.
And we still get along.
I know, it's so weird. I mean, we've got nothing in common. I'm just kidding. Okay, I'm going to turn off the recording just in case anybody has any questions they didn't want answered and recorded, and give you